You're watching the Central Post. This is Samiksha Adre. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just concluded a 3-day state visit to Australia, his third as Prime Minister after trips in 2014 and 2023. This win was in Melbourne for the Australia India Annual Leaders Summit, and on paper, it reads like diplomatic routine, bilateral talks, a business forum, a diaspora event. Underneath that, there's a lot more going on. Start with the deal everyone's covering. Australia will now export uranium to India. That matters because Australia sits on close to 28% of the world's known uranium reserves, nearly a third of the entire global supply. And the India has set itself an ambitious target, 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy capacity by 2047. Both governments are calling it peaceful purposes only, which, fine, standard language. But peaceful or not, this is India locking in a long term fuel pipeline for its clean energy future from a partner it hasn't historically depended on this heavily. Now, here's where it gets interesting. For years, India's entire energy doctrine has been built on one principle: never depend too much on any single supplier. Diversify oil sources, diversify coal, diversify solar tech partnerships. And now, with this uranium arrangement, India is doing the opposite, concentrating a critical slice of its nuclear ambition into one relationship with one country on one continent. That's not necessarily a mistake, but it is a shift. And shifts like that deserves questions, not just applause. Then there's a story getting almost no airtime: a new space tracking terminal to be built on Australia's Cocos Kneeling Islands, a remote territory sitting in the middle of Indian Ocean. Officially, it's there to support Indian space missions. Unofficially, geography doesn't lie. The location gives India, and by extension its partners, a vantage over some of the busiest, most contested maritime routes in the Indo-Pacific. Read into that what you will. Add to this expanded defense cooperation, new arrangements on critical mineral supply chains, and Modi personally pitching Indian markets at the India Australia CEOs Forum, and the picture starts looks less like a courtesy visit and more like India methodically writing itself deeper into the Western strategic architecture of this region. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called the relationship more consequential than ever. Diplomats say that at every summit, what's different here is that the paperwork actually backs it up. Trade, defense, technology, security, all moving in the same direction all at once. So here's the real question worth asking: is this India building renewed strategic depth with a trusted partner, or is it India quietly trading away decades of calculated non alignment for the comfort of picking a side? Modi's regional tour isn't finished. After Indonesia, after Australia, he's now in New Zealand, the final stop. And what comes out of that leg might tell us even more about how India sees its place in this region. We'll be watching the story up closely, so you keep watching the Central Post.